Good morning, Chicago and the rest of the world. Welcome to the Money, Sex, Gen X podcast. This is season 5, Big Stu. Season 5, episode number 5.
Wow.
Should you start a not-for-profit? How you doing, fam?
I'm well, brother. Glad to be live and direct. Glad to be in here, man. Excited for this conversation. That's what's happening with me, man. How you feeling, man?
I'm good, man. I'm ready to have this conversation. I want to welcome you all. I am your host with the most, the man with the plan, the Scotty Pimpin of podcast pimping.
Come through.
And I am never alone. As I say in every episode, I'm joined by the Titan of Team Tech. A dope cat who curates dope people. The Kanye of the stock trade. My homie, my friend, my brother, my co-host, Big Stu.
Bo, liquor shot. What's happening, people?
Man, we're glad to be back. It's been a while. We're back to serve you with some more life game. If you like what MSG is doing, please like, comment, share. We'd love for you to drop MSG 100 in the chat to let us know you're out there. You might not want to participate in the convo as far as putting comments, but drop MSG 100 so we know you out there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hey, Stu, our YouTube channel is doing pretty good in terms of organic views. You saw that?
I saw that.
So you all keep subscribing and helping us grow. Big Stu, do we got some merch to let the people know about?
Yeah, let me share the screen. We do have some merch, and I know we're gonna be dropping some new stuff, but there's no reason to drop any bunch of new stuff right now because y'all still need to cop this stuff. This is the mental health therapy. No, this is the therapy edition. Who can I trust with my stuff?
Okay.
You know, this is the celibacy edition.
What a great episode.
Ties, yeah. Soul ties left unchecked is equal to an STD.
Yes.
You had to be there to get there. Yeah, that was a good one. You want to say something
about
that?
That was a dope episode. Yeah.
Great episode. You're only selfish to people who can't get their way with you. You know, that was you remember what episode that was?
I don't. Which one was that?
I think that was also the therapy episode.
Okay.
I think that was a therapy episode.
That sounds familiar. There goes my favorite mug to drink my coffee in. All right.
My favorite throw blanket that I let nobody use my throw blanket. You know, it's for aesthetics only. This is a healthy eating shirt.
That's the one I still want to. That's the one I want.
I have that.
There.
Yeah, I have that one. Ease into eating better.
Yep.
We got our champion piece. Champion product.
Yes, we do.
You know, I'm not rocking the baseball tee, but I am rocking the branded logo. You need your gator for your, you should still mask up. Book bags, sleep. What are these called? Your lady, one of your young ladies out there. Your nighty. There you go.
Yeah,
nighty. We got jogging, leggings. Boy shorts or underwear for the men, socks, tank tops. There's no reason why y'all shouldn't be repping the brand out here.
No doubt. So, I like the gray hoodie. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's good. And that's a champion as well. I have that one in gray. And I have the zip-up jacket as well.
Yeah, that's nice too. Support the movement and get some MSG merch.
Get some merch, yo. Get some merch.
All right.
So that's what we got on that, man.
Cool. All right, so today we're dropping some life game. Today, Big Stu, around this conversation. And I kind of got this episode idea from you. I don't remember which one it was, but you were making a comment about, and we're about to bring on some really, really solid guests that I can't wait for you all to meet. But Stu, in one of our episodes, you were saying that you had some strong views about starting a not-for-profit versus a for-profit. I don't want to spill it again yet. I want you to get into it with our guests.
Okay.
Do you remember that episode?
Absolutely. I still
remember
stand on
that
that.
comment.
Yeah, I stand on it 100%. I remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's bring our guests on. I want to introduce you all to them.
All right.
Here
We
go.
have Bridget Scarborough and Felicia Young. Welcome to the show, Money
All
Sex
right.
Connect. Now, before I introduce you ladies, I just want to tell the people why I wanted to do this episode. Partially from Stu's comment in a previous episode, I personally got my start doing not-for-profit. They gave me the framework to actually learn how to do other types of businesses. My first one was in Inglewood. We did a program called Ladies Alive at a high school in Inglewood. And from there, I was with Beulah McLeod, Ladies Alive. And the structure of that was to just kind of teach etiquette and to take those young ladies throughout the city of Chicago. But that was my first entrepreneurship, I call it entrepreneurship venture, first not-for-profit for sure. Now, I've gotten a chance to work with both of you all over the years. I'm going to intro, let me tell you a little bit about Bridget first. Bridget, I'm going to tell them the corporate bio, then you can tell people a little bit more about yourself. Bridget is the founder and CEO of 501c3 My Org. It's dedicated to helping people realize their vision of starting a not-for-profit. We know a lot of people want to start not-for-profits. 501c3 My Org is there to assist people in that vision. 25 years of experience. Bridget's done a lot of different types of businesses, from home daycare. She had a toy store. Her and I actually had an educational consulting company years ago that we have a lot to talk about with that. She has a master's degree in early childhood education from DePaul University. She also was in the financial industry for a little while. She's a Chicago native, lived in Texas for how many years? 6 years, I think?
5.
5 years she lived in San Antonio, and now she is here with us today. Bridget, did I miss anything? What else can you tell the people about yourself?
Well, I just want to say, in addition to what you've named, I just really have a passion for helping people start businesses and not-for-profits. My specialty niche is not-for-profits because I have so much experience in it. But I just really have a passion for making sure that people are able to realize their dreams, make money doing what they love to do. Okay. And even before I got into this business, this was something that I always did for people that I knew. And eventually, when the pandemic came around, I realized that when a lot more people started going toward realizing their vision, that I had a lot of expertise that I can share with people. So people started calling me with advice and or just expressing their problems, and I had the answer to it. And so It made me realize that, this expertise was something that people really needed, and maybe I should start a business and really focus on that.
Okay, we're going to get deeper into that. So thank you for joining the show. Now I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Felicia Slayton Young. And don't forgive me if I get the name of the financial advisory company. You might have to correct me. Bell LaCour. What's the correct pronunciation?
Lucre.
Bell Lucre. Okay.
Bell Lucre.
Felicia is definitely a financial advisor, been in the game for many years. She decided to start her own financial advisory firm, Bell Lucre. She is also a founding member and executive director of the Greater Inglewood Chamber of Commerce and the GE Chamber Foundation, which I want to hear more about the foundation. Both of those organizations, they have a mission to transform Greater Inglewood into a popular commercial and retail destination by advising, developing, and showcasing the established businesses in Greater Inglewood. She's also, and I didn't know this until you said the bio, but you're now also a board member of the St. Bernard Hospital and Health Center. I didn't know that. And their mission calls for us to care for the sick and promote the health of the residents in the community while witnessing the Christian values of respect, dignity, caring, and compassion. Now, I will share that the Greater Inglewood Chamber of Commerce, Felicia and I founded together. So we have a lot to tell you about that. I think I had a little bit of a hand in the Chamber Foundation. I got to jog my memory. But Felicia, did I miss anything? What's up? Tell the people a little bit more.
Hello, everybody. No, absolutely. You helped us, start the Chamber of Commerce and the foundation. And it's been great, working with you at that time to build that. Doing a lot of work. I can't wait to get into this subject because, it's a lot of passion. Nonprofit is just like any other business, right? The people who started are focused and they have a passion and they have a mission and they want to see it, through to success. But there's also some interesting hurdles, especially in the nonprofit space. And so navigating that, learning that, especially me coming from a corporate background, not realizing all of these potholes that could be in this space and learning to navigate that. And I'm still learning. Right. So this is going to be a fun topic.
Okay. So let's get into it. Big Stu, most of the episodes we do something called actual factuals. Usually before we start getting into our experiences and our opinions, we try to drop a few facts to frame the conversation. So we're talking about not-for-profit. So according to our research, there are almost 2 million tax-exempt organizations in the United States. The not-for-profit sector, 10% of the it constitutes 10% of the American workforce. Didn't know that. I probably would have thought it was a little bit higher than that, which equals 11.4 million jobs. They say that Americans are generous according to our research. Total charitable giving is around 390 billion per year.
Wow, billion with a B?
Billion, 390 billion. Approximately 63 million Americans, which is 25% of the adult population, volunteer their time, food, talents, and energy in making a difference. And the last one I'll give is there's 3 most common types of not-for-profits according to our research. Number 1 is religious organizations. 3 is educational. And 3rd is foundations and grant-making organizations. Okay, so that's kind of what's going on in the not-for-profit space. Then I also did a little bit of research that suggested that many not-for-profits are struggling right now, which I don't think is a surprise, particularly from what they say, those started by Black founders. Okay, so I would like to talk about that a little bit. But Stu, first, the comment that you made in the previous episode was pretty heavy about your perspective about whether people should start not-for-profits. Can you let the people know about that comment?
Yeah, before I get to that comment, I also just want to acknowledge I just had a conversation yesterday explaining to someone that Chicago Public Schools is a nonprofit. Chicago Public Schools is a nonprofit entity.
Definitely.
May not be a 501c3. Then I had to go into that 501c3 is a tax code designation. There are many different nonprofit tax. It all depends. There's so many. So a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions about nonprofits. And here's my thing. And Felicia, I think you started to allude to it. And I don't understand why so many Black folks rush to start nonprofits. And I'm putting a little sauce on it. I'm saucing it up a little bit. I'm being dramatic a little bit. I don't understand why so many Black folks first business they want to be a nonprofit. What? I disagree. To your point, Felicia, a nonprofit is a business. Lots of Black folks need to be worried about ownership. Own something first. Build that. Then get into your philanthropic efforts. That's my perspective. That's my 2 cents.
Okay.
I'm philanthropic. I'm on the board for a few nonprofits, a couple of nonprofits. But my first at it is not a nonprofit. I need to own. I think that's the comment you were talking about, right, E-Money?
It is, man. So are you telling our young
I'm strong
viewers,
with that.
Are you basically telling our young viewers that if you got to choose between starting a not-for-profit and a for-profit, it's definitely for-profit?
Definitely for-profit. All day, every day, for-profit. Not
Bridget,
just and look, not just nonprofits hurting. All businesses hurting. All businesses are hurting.
Okay.
So if I'm gonna hurt with me trying to look for the upside of the profit of it.
Okay.
All right. I know. I see Bridget.
Lady, now you got two not-for-profit heavyweights here, so I want y'all to push back. Bridget, what's up? What you got to say about that?
Well, actually, I do not disagree necessarily with what he's saying in terms of own something first. I think actually that would be a great, if everything was to work in the proper way, that would probably be what I would suggest, is to own something first. However, there is a lot, like we're talking about the youth. The youth have a lot of concerns about things that are going on in the world. And so sometimes what drives them, especially when you're young, you may not have a lot of financial concerns. So what's driving you really is a mission. You know, you want to solve a problem. You want to make a change in the world. And for young people, that is actually the time that they should be thinking about that before they have children and, you know, have all these big responsibilities. So a not-for-profit may be actually a good avenue for a student or a young person that doesn't have those responsibilities, have a lot of time on their hands, and can organize. And they can still, and we all know that you can still make money with not-for-profits, because non-profit does not mean no profit. What it means is that you are not organized to make a profit. You're organized for some type of charitable purpose. But that does not mean you cannot have a salary. That does not mean you can't acquire property through the organization. You can do so many things that businesses, that you can do under a regular business. And it actually could be easier because you're not working with your own fund. So you don't have to wait until you earn enough money to do those things. You can use donations. You can use grant money, so it opens up a lot of opportunity. It's another avenue. It's not the only avenue, but it's definitely something I wouldn't shut down.
Felicia, thank you for that. Felicia, what do you have to say? I'm particularly interested in the financial piece, as you are a financial advisor. I want to hear your general opinion, but from a financial perspective, do you think it's better for someone to start with a not-for-profit or for-profit?
Definitely a for-profit. I get, I'm going to go back to what Big Stu just said. A nonprofit is not, or a 501c3, let me be particular, is not a business model. It's a tax code. And I think people confuse the two all the time about how this works, right? They hear, this nonprofit got this donation and this much money. It's a tax code. Don't get it confused. But I think with any business model is the opportunity to expand each arm of the organization. So I say get deep into your business model, understand what it is that you want to do, still understanding that there's a giving part of you that you want to expand and expound upon. But that's the opportunity to branch into the nonprofit space. And maybe there's if you're if you're selling skateboards, right? And you see, all of the work you're doing and all of the profits you're making, and you know that you want to give back, then now start a foundation arm of that business that allows you to do more impactful work, right? One, it solidifies your business and it allows your business as a tax break to give to your own.
Here we go.
Right? It's about thinking through how we're going to use these funds that really make sense, allow you to still do the passion work that you want to do on the giving side of it, and then tap into the grants and all of those that you can tap into on your foundation side to really do that giving work that you want to do. But you got to think through it. Yeah, you got to think through it.
Big Stu said that actually, that the foundation comment, he actually said that in the previous episode also. My co-host be giving it up. So yes, we agree obviously with that.
Yes.
I think my challenge, and this is the bigger piece, Bridget and Felicia, I was just finding that I was coming across too many people, to your point, Felicia, who just don't even understand what it is. And they just see it as a free fall. I'm gonna go get this free money. I literally have heard people say, I'm gonna go get this free money. And it really speaks to how, and I'm just gonna talk about us. I'm Black, so I'm gonna talk about us and be critical of us Black folks. You know, just are looking for the easy way to the bag and see it from their perspective, a lot of that operating a nonprofit must be easier because people just give you money. You know, you have a mission and that's not it. That's not it. So
that's absolutely true. That's why, like with my company, 501c3 My Org, when I take on a client, there's a whole education piece that I do, because a lot of clients come into the door thinking that it's going to be easy and thinking that they don't need a plan, that they can just get a 501c3. They don't even know what the 501c3 is. They don't know what the responsibilities of a 501c3 is. There's a lot of responsibilities that come with a 501c3.
They're not thinking about the board. They're not thinking about the mission.
Right.
Those are the people that I'm talking to about.
Right.
No.
And that's part of the reason why I did this, because I started this organization, this company, because this is an actual company, not a.
So wait. Let's get this right. Hold on. 501c3 My Org is a for-profit business.
It's a for-profit.
Hey, you guys, what I'm talking about. Yes.
And what I do is I educate people about how to do this the correct way and what they're getting into. So I talk about the benefits, but not only the benefits, also the responsibilities. And I feel like I wouldn't be much of a consultant if I didn't give them that broad picture, because I could easily just say, okay, I can fill out the application for you and give you a 501c3. That's the easy part. But maintaining it and knowing what you're getting into, I feel obligated to make sure that my clients understand the whole picture and have that proper education going in.
Yeah.
E-Money, I'm sorry, I got it. Here is Stu's moment of transparency.
There's
another side of my conversation. You know, it's two sides to everything. So hey ladies, when there's Stu's moment of transparency is when I kind of put my own self, I lay my own self on the table. It's like, I'm gonna be vulnerable, right? Another thing, my issue with nonprofits is, and it's not an issue with nonprofits, it's actually my challenge, right, with nonprofits. I think that it is far more difficult to promote the mission, the purpose and mission of a nonprofit than a for-profit. I think it is harder. So one of the reasons I've avoided it, because I actually see it as more difficult to run a successful nonprofit than run a successful for-profit. And here's why. You got to get people to buy into the mission and give up this money, right? For your purpose. And you have to constantly promote that. And that is very, very hard work. So, Bridget, to your point, you can give anybody the status, the 501c3 status, but they got to go fundraise and get people to dig into their pockets and give them the money. I fear that. I think it is so much easier, we're talking about levels of ease, to do it in a for-profit setting than to do it in a non-profit setting. So I fear that. And that's my moment of transparency.
Stu's moment of transparency. Okay, so it's harder in your eyes. Now I want you to be transparent about this for the people. Have you actually started a not-for-profit organization yourself?
I've attempted to start a 501c3 once.
Okay.
And then I said, I will have to do this when I have two things: more time and more money.
More time and more money. Okay. So he got some credibility. He's done the for-profit. He's tried to start a not-for-profit. And that's what I want to segue into. Let's talk to the people about what really goes into starting a not-for-profit organization. Stu talked about the difficulty. Felicia and Bridget have kind of mentioned some points about, yes, you're solving a problem. It's, you need a lot of different pieces to make it work. what goes into it? Felicia, how would you go about the process now being seasoned? How do you approach not-for-profits now versus how you did when you were younger? I think that's a good question.
There's a lot of credibility to what Big Stu just laid out there for us. The reality is, nonprofit in any form is still a business. And just like starting a business, it's about having capital to start, right? And so I really want to walk into this saying that, yeah, you as a nonprofit, you can figure out how to find the money, but that's where the work is, right? Especially when you are a startup with nothing, right? You're basically funding it from your own pocket. And we did that with the Chamber of Commerce, right? We funded it from our own pockets and found ways to, one, show our value as an organization by making sure that we were walking in our mission, right? We weren't just telling people what the mission was, but we were, I was going door to door. I was going into businesses. I was walking on the corridor. I was participating in the community events. I was trying to really get clear. But that didn't necessarily bring the money right away, right? And so the challenge really is that whether it's a for-profit or a nonprofit, everything is easier if you have a bucket of money to help you out, to get you started on the path.
Bucket of money.
You need that. You need that, right?
You do. Yeah.
And it goes back to what Big Stu said about, how do you get people to believe in your mission? And I ain't gonna lie, from the sister girl right here, the reality is Chicago is cliquish. The nonprofit space is cliquish.
All right.
And it's about knowing folks. And if folks like you and they like what you're doing and they see value in it, you ain't even got to apply for the grants. They will tell you, we just want you to fill out this one thing that tells us who you are and what you do. And we gonna write you the check for $100,000.
Very true.
But that doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah.
That was work. That's work you have to put in, establishing yourself. That could be 5-6 years in, right?
That's right.
But not many Black-led, Black-established nonprofits sometimes don't make it to that 5-6 year mark, to the point where that can begin to happen. So it's a real reality check about, are you doing this for the bag? Because if you are, you're not going to be there for 5 years. Or are you really in it for the mission?
Right.
Because the mission will keep you going, knowing that eventually the money will come as long as you continue to work the values of the mission. And that really was the learning curve. Now, I didn't walk into the chamber saying, oh, I want to get to the bag. I walked into building this chamber with Eric initially because I was looking for clients. I'm a financial advisor. And I'm saying to myself, there must be an Inglewood Chamber of Commerce, because at the time I had about 3 or 4 millionaires who lived in Inglewood very discreetly. And what I said to myself, there must be more. Let me join the Chamber of Commerce so that I can click into them. That's the evolution of the Chamber of Commerce, because I found out there wasn't one. I was like, okay, we got to build one. But I stayed on that path. So.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah, I remember those early days in the chamber. Something else I want to throw in about that, what really goes into it, you're going to have a lot of people who start the journey with you who they may disappear.
Yes.
I remember, and I'm not naming names, obviously, but we had people early in the chamber that were like, yeah, we want to do this and we're down for the mission. And they literally, Stu and Bridget, disappeared. Never heard from some of them ever again. So my advice too would be kind of be prepared for that. Like that mission that Felicia is talking about and that problem that Bridget is referencing that you want to solve, you do have to let that push you through when things get rough, because they will inevitably get rough. And to Felicia's point, Stu, and you notice this in business in general, yes, if people like you, it's helpful. And also if you have a track record that you can point to. Because I would even say this, and I want to get you all's opinion on this in business and not-for-profits. People could not even like you, but if you can point to something that you did that was successful, it helps you tremendously.
Yeah.
They might not even like you, but they cannot dispute what you have done. What do you think about that, Bridget?
Well, I think that point is very valid. I also wanted to just speak on something in general, what I've been hearing from Felicia, from yourself, from Stu. A lot of the obstacles that we're talking about in business, in not-for-profits, are the same that you would experience in business. Mm-hmm. So there's a philosophy out here that you shouldn't even be starting a business until you have a bucket of money. So, and there's a lot of people that don't take salaries for years in their business. I knew a guy that actually had $1 million company, met the president of the United States when Obama was in office. He had a video gaming company. He had about 3 or 4 employees, and he still worked at IHOP overnight. So
he was disciplined.
Yes, he was not taking a salary. And so whether you're in the not-for-profit space or the for-profit space, a lot of those challenges are really the same. And a lot of businesses go under, in the first couple of years, just like not-for-profit. So it's really about discipline is one thing, but it's also about staying on track, getting proper advice, not jumping into something that you have not properly researched. You don't have a coach or a consultant or somebody that is helping you through the process that's been there. And the idea or the obstacle about people dropping out, that's another thing that you find in both for-profits and not-for-profits. I have one client who has that exact model that we're talking about, where he started a for-profit business. And then it's an agriculture, it's a farm to table cafe. And so he brought me in to help him do a not-for-profit version of that, where we started an agriculture education program for kids. But in his actual business, he's experiencing the same problem, turnover with employees, people that came into the business with him as investors or think tanks are no longer with them. So this is really, when you're a visionary, this is somewhat of a part of the process that you're going to have to go through until you really build that solid team. And it's going to take some time, effort, and dedication.
Indeed. I think that's a strong point. I want to go back to some of the other things that people would need. So we know they need money. But Stu, what else would a person need? Like, I don't hear people talk about developing a board of directors.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the hardest activities. Bridget, you mentioned staying on track.
Yeah.
Do we believe that the board of directors would help you stay on track when things are getting rough?
Well,
I'm sorry.
No, Bridget, I want to give you a chance, but I also want to acknowledge there's a great question here in the audience from Ada Babineau. And her second point is the board seems to run a nonprofit business over the person who started the business. And I think that's
right on time.
And she has another point that there seems to be more stringent reporting as far as taxes and functioning. And I don't know if it's any more or less stringent than with a for-profit. But Bridget, please, to your point about developing the board, Eric's question, please continue.
Well, I believe when you're thinking about a board, your board should not be micromanaging, but they should be resourceful and they should be and they should have your back. So
Bridget, let me stop you for 1 second. I want to hear the rest of that, but what I want to first make sure we get to, because we got younger people watching, how do you get the board? We know that they need to have these characteristics, but how do you get them? Because somebody's sitting there like, okay, I know I need a board, but what's the strategy to get these solid people that you were talking about?
And I'm wondering, and in addition to that, I think the one thing I want to help, add to that is from my perspective, I'm thinking that the board, and Bridget, you can take it from here. I'm thinking that the board is to help that individual bring that vision to life.
Right.
So can you, okay, so how do you even get those people, to Eric's question into? We got a lot of different questions happening out of here. So
well, again, everyone's starting from a different place. So sometimes people are starting from scratch and they don't have a lot of resources in terms of people, human resources. And then you have other people that are in that world where they know a lot of people with money. They know a lot of people that are philanthropic. Of course, those type of people have an advantage. But if I'm going to take it, I guess the most important question would be, if you're just starting from scratch and you don't know anybody, you have to get out there and meet people. And there's also, we're in the world of technology. You have Volunteer Match, you have Indeed, you have a lot of resources where you can actually solicit people that have the expertise that you're looking for, that may want to volunteer their time. As you're doing events and networking and telling people about your programs, see who is excited about doing, about being involved with this type of initiative. And you just begin recruiting that way. And also know what expertise you're looking for. You need to have a grid in writing that says, I need a lawyer. I need
Good point.
I need a accountant. I need somebody with a not-for-profit management background. I need a couple of people who have started a not-for-profit. If it's in education, I need some teachers, some retired teachers on board. So there is a lot of, you have to know exactly what you're looking for, and then that will guide you in terms of where you go to look for these individuals and how to spot them. But one of the things that I will say, because there is a lot of people that are concerned, one of the major concerns I hear, and I don't know how, and Eric, you're good at researching, so this will be a good research project. But I think a lot of people are overly concerned about the board taking over their organization. So one of the concerns that I hear a lot is, well, if I get a board and they vote me out, now I'm no longer part of the organization that I started. This is a fear that everyone has.
Yes.
But personally, I've never seen that happen. Not to say that it hasn't happened, but I've never seen it happen. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. And like I said, Eric, you may want to research how often does that actually happen, and should that be a real fear? And I'm gonna tell you why I don't think it's a fear, because most people aren't down for really doing the type of work or the putting in the time and effort that it really takes to run an organization. So I would not. Board members really are people that are busy doing what they do every day in their own career, but they have a kind of a concern about the problem that this organization is solving. And so they want to see that initiative happen, but they don't necessarily want to be hands-on day-to-day, doing that grind work. So I don't think it's as much of a fear as people think it is.
Well, I'm gonna speak to that. I want to speak to that. That's a good point. First of all, I can't really take that much credit for being a good researcher. I think I'm good at hiring people who are good. So I'm not gonna try to take that credit. I'm a good recruiter. I'm a great recruiter. But let me say this, people, they will get rid of you now.
Mm-hmm.
They will get rid of you on your not-for-profit board. When I first started my first not-for-profit, I was talking about Ladies Alive with Beulah McLeod. The lady who was coaching us got voted out of her not-for-profit. And so she said, Eric and Beulah, you need to understand going in, because this is what happens, Felicia, and you might have seen this. They're not going to vote you out when you're struggling and trying to get it together. They're going to vote you out once it gets the prestige and the funding comes in. That's when you're at risk for getting voted out, because now it's attached to my brand. Big Stu, we got this multi-million-dollar not-for-profit. I'm on the board and I get to take all these pictures. That's when I feel, and what I've seen, you're at risk for being voted out. Felicia, have you seen that, and are you worried about that?
I haven't seen that, but that's your comment about when it could happen is absolutely dead on. I go back to Bridget's point. When you're struggling, nobody is interested in coming in and taking over your day-to-day operations. They don't have the capacity for that. but they also don't have the same passion for the mission that you have. They support the work and the growth of the organization. And so, yes, it can happen. But what I will say when we think about starting a nonprofit and developing that board, right? Identifying who we want to be on that board. You're going to have probably about 4 to 6 turnovers before you get a board that's really on board to do the work of oversight, because that's really what the board is designed to do. It's just oversight.
True indeed.
Are you make sure you're not stealing the money,
right? Responsibility,
really, and we're moving forward with the mission. Yeah. I mean, that's really, and it's a lot of, so that first board are going to be people who support you. Yeah. And once as you move a little further, get a little further ahead, it's going to be more than they probably want to continue to do in terms of meetings and all of that, because there's so much happening. You want to share everything and you want to make sure that people know what's happening, and you're going to have turnover. So I wouldn't put all your eggs in one basket on the first board. Of course, you want people that will support you, and it's really about helping you market this new organization. But I agree with Bridget and Eric is that you will have to get, as your organization grows, you gotta get real strategic about who you need on your board to help you move the organization forward. You need an attorney that can help you guys look through legal documents, right? And establish some legal and groundwork to make sure that the work that you're doing and all of the people you have doing some of this contract work, that remains confidential. You're going to need a CPA that's really given a second set of eyes to, I mean, we have a CPA on the board, but we also have an accountant, and we need those second set of eyes in case something is missed, right?
Sure.
I'm not an accountant, I'm a financial advisor, so I need this person to do that work. And I go back to what Eric just said. I'm good at hiring and selecting the right people. I'm never I can't be the marketing person and the HR person and the accounting person and understand all of the legal ease that I need to be clear about. You will develop that over time. And so don't feel like before I start I have to find an accountant and a CPA. You might not find all of those people all at the same time. Maybe you get 1 or 2, but know that it's just like anything. It is absolutely not a sprint. It's a slow, targeted marathon. And you're going to go through some turnover, not just with operations people, but absolutely with your board. So just prepare for that.
Fantastic point. Stuart, you're going to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to, all of that you said, I wanted to go back and speak to the turnover piece, because I think that's super important. I struggled with that in the beginning of my businesses. So the turnover is turnover. Remember, we're saying, and I'm talking to the audience, we're saying that whether you're a nonprofit or for-profit, it's the same, right? You have the same mission, same purpose. You got to raise money. You're trying to solve a problem. It's all the same, right? And so I struggled with turnover in the beginning of my businesses, taking it very, very personal. Like it's something I'm doing wrong. Now, It may have been some things I was doing wrong, but nevertheless, that turnover, that churn rate is really high in the beginning. You're just going to have it because you're still figuring out your own mission, your own continuity of it. And some people you got to be really, really structured. So I just want to encourage people in the beginning to don't be too discouraged about the level of turnover that some people come in for seasons and reasons, right? And they see what's required and what you're asking. Things may be going on in their lives and they just pulling up. So it's okay to have that turnover. And then there's one more piece. I want to make sure. So I'm always talking to people who are at the very beginning of starting. My audience is people who have an idea and are needing to get it out on paper to see if it becomes something. What happens in these conversations that I generally have lots of trouble with is we often talk in spaces of we're already on, right? And so we have to remember that we're talking to people who, a lot of us are talking to people who are considering, right? Who are thinking about, they have an idea and they don't know where or how. So when we talk about having this money, access to money, I just want to say, look, don't worry about the money in the beginning. Do what you have to do out of your own pocket first. Just do what you can first. Build something that is a proven concept first. And then you'll get, when you're, to Felicia's point, 6-7 years in, 5-6, then you'll start to be able to attach and bring these other people on, and you'll see your capacity grow.
Big Stu dropping them jewels.
Yeah.
If you are just tuning in, this is the Money, Sex, Gen X podcast. Me and Big Stu have made it to season 5, Felicia and Bridget. This is episode 5. Should you start a not-for-profit? And that title is very strategic, you all, because it's like Stu said, it's a lot of people out there with ideas. We're trying to give some guidance if it's a good fit for you individually. Because guess what? We talked about this. You can do other things. Like somebody else might have a not-for-profit, Felicia. You can serve on their board. You can contribute money to their 501c3, Bridget. You don't necessarily have to be the one who starts it, but you can still contribute. So we were trying to have this conversation. Now, Bridget, I want to go back to you real quick because I want to start talking about some mistakes that I've made. You and I started the Giving Tree Educational Consultant years ago. We made every mistake possible. Stu, we made every mistake possible. We actually let it kind of destroyed our relationship, you know, in many ways because it was just a lot. So
what were some of the mistakes you all made?
We about to get into it. So what advice would you give people, Bridget? And I hope you're okay with talking about this. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but this is meant to be helpful.
You might remember more about it than me.
Okay.
Bridget suppressed.
What I remember is not so great, but I'm gonna try to keep it, you know. But if two people have some kind of a relationship, whether it be romantic, friends, or whatever, what advice would you give them if they're starting something together? What have you learned about starting stuff with people you have close relationships with? And particularly a not-for-profit. Yeah, you.
Well,
what advice would you give?
That's a tough one because I'm always even personally torn with that because I believe in family businesses and like ideally I want people to be able to employ their family, bring their family on. Like this is what we're doing this for. That's what motivates me to start any business or a not-for-profit. I want to leave a legacy for my family. I want to be able to bring people into the organization or the company that I'm running so that it can benefit not just me, but my family. But then you have that flip side of you're working with your family or you're working with your partner. So if I was to give advice on that, I would say stay in your lane. And if you know your partner is an expert in a particular area, let them handle that particular area. Don't and if you're the expert, you know, hopefully your partner will respect your expertise. So just like you would go into if you were employed by a company and you had a particular job to do, you don't go around telling everybody else how to do their job. You know, you respect people's positions. And so I would say that's the first thing that kind of comes to my mind is really and I think that did kind of come into play even with our organization. And, you know, just making sure that you allow people to do their job without interfering so much and let them be the expert in what they're supposed to be doing.
Okay. That's a very PC way of delivering the message. I appreciate that. I would say to Bridget, Felicia, I would not suggest that you start a not-for-profit with someone you have a close relationship with, Felicia. Now, Felicia, because I just think it's too high risk and there's so much at stake that you're just adding more risk. Now, when Felicia and I started the chamber, I was just coming off of an experience too where I helped to co-found the Greater Inglewood CDC. And I'm going to be PC, but I acted a fool, and so did all of the other people. I'll just say that. We got it done. A lot of talented people, but we acted a fool. And I'm sure if you talk to any of those people one-on-one, they would tell you that a lot of us are not cool now. But the organization is still standing and doing its thing.
Wait.
Now-
You being too, you still being, look, give me some tea, man. Give me some what does acting a fool look like and starting to see?
That's
Give
a
me
good
some
question.
examples, man.
That's a
Give me
good question.
what's acting a fool look like?
Acting a fool looks like letting your ego.
You still giving me the
Get in
collegiate. You
I
still
can't-
giving me the
I
collegiate
can't-
answer.
I can't. Let me see. How can I say this? Because I don't want to offend
Was
anybody.
y'all challenging each other? Was there arguments? Were there
Yeah, we
was
were.
there arguments
we
in
were,
meetings? Like you ain't shit. You don't know what you
Well,
talking about.
It
It
didn't
was
go
stuff
that
like
far.
that.
It didn't go that far. I remember one of the board members yelling down the street after me one time, and I remember a male starting to cry. It wasn't me, but somebody started. So yeah, it was a lot of, which was shocking at the time. But yeah, we were arguing. I mean, we were trying our best, Felicia, to be professional, but everybody was just so passionate about getting it done. They were residents of Inglewood. And so they were kind of looking at me like, okay, we know you know this stuff, but you're not from Inglewood. You know what I mean? So it was a little bit of that going on. My whole thing was, I know what I'm talking about. We're going to get this done. And we did get it done. And not just because of me, because of a collective effort, totally. But yes, we were arguing. We were splitting off into groups, venting about the other people. We were being very unprofessional in board meetings at times. We were starting other organizations off to the side just to make sure, to leverage if something happens here. It was a lot of different things going on. But to our credit, I will say that we pulled together enough to accomplish the goal, which was to bring Inglewood another organization that focused on economic development. We did that. We pulled together enough to do that. Me personally, I do believe I was arrogant and I didn't want to be questioned. And my approach just wasn't people-centric.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It wasn't like caring. People, if you're leading a group of people, yes, you can get things done. That's what I've learned. But you need to create a nurturing environment.
Come on.
An environment where everyone feels like they're heard and you're not suggesting that you're the only one who knows what's going on, because it's never the case. Now, by the time I got to Felicia, I had some years to kind of sit with myself and learn that I needed to improve my leadership. So Felicia got a much better version of Eric. And me and Felicia really didn't, I don't remember having not one problem with Felicia. Felicia, was I acting crazy? I don't.
No,
so.
no, not at all. I think to this day, I think we have a really solid relationship. And even after, Eric moved on from our board, I still checked in with him and gave him some updates on where the organization was, because regardless, he's a founder. He's a founder of this work. And this is still going to be in his legacy books as an organization that he helped start.
Definitely.
And so I think it's just good for him to know where we are, what we're doing, how we're elevating. But also, I talk about challenges, right? Want to go back to what he said about, learning to be people-centric. And that's not just in the organization, but that's in the community in which you're being a nonprofit, right? Yeah. So I know I'm steering a little bit to the curb, but
please.
Also understanding that I walked into this nonprofit space with no nonprofit experience and didn't realize how much politics was involved in this, right? Blindsided me. I'm thinking that I'm just doing good work and I'm trying to, be very helpful, but I didn't realize I was stepping on toes, because it wasn't in my peer view, right? I didn't know that, who I should be talking to and what relationships I was building. That was with the help, and I will have to say this, Perry Gunn who was then the executive director of Teamwork Inglewood, lots of guidance, lots of conversations about, okay, what should I be doing and what should I be saying and who should I be talking to? Because that stuff didn't, when you come from a for-profit space, we already know bottom line is results. Did you get the money? Did you generate the revenue? Did you make the number of calls you said you were going to make? And so that was what my focus was. Did I talk to, how many businesses did I talk to, business owners did I talk to a week? How many times did I go out into the community? Like, that was what I had given myself as achievement markers, right? These were what I was thinking my KPIs were. And I didn't realize that I needed to factor in community partners, elected officials, congressmen, everybody, city of Chicago, that I should have been building relationships with, because that was huge value. But let me go back to the stepping on toes. I didn't realize that even in the midst of doing good work, people saw the work as a threat to what they were doing. That completely blindsided me, because I didn't realize that anything in nonprofit could be a threat to anybody, but it was. And I had to figure out how to navigate that experience and my feelings about it.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up, Felicia. Have you seen that, Stu? That's something I wanted to talk about.
No, I can't say that I've seen that. And I wonder if it's really about the nonprofit or just the simple fact that the way we hate on each other sometimes, even as adults. Even we see somebody doing something, and because we not doing, we do. Y'all do know we hate on each other as adults.
Oh yeah,
y'all do. We get jealous of each other. We get jealous. So I haven't really seen it. So yeah. But
well, I want to say this, and I'm glad you brought that up, Felicia, because one day I'm going to write a book about my experiences with not-for-profits. I'm going to write a short little book. But one of the chapters is going to definitely talk about letting all of these side things get in the way of serving the people. I used to sit in these board meetings for all different types of organizations, and I'm hearing about everybody, Bridget, but the person that we're supposed to be serving. Mm-hmm. So we have an organization about kids, but nobody's mentioning any kids. Right. We have an organization about economic development, but we're not talking about anybody developing economically, Stu. And I really had a problem with that. I was guilty of it too, but I feel like it happens far too often because we let our brand and our ego get in the way of, Felicia, the mission. Why am I really here? Our mission was really clear. We need to get these businesses in Inglewood support. She says, how did you navigate that? Wow, that could be a whole show. I would say you have to definitely block out the noise. Block out the noise and keep your inner circle kind of tight. And this is cliche, but I do think it worked for me. It's like you got to block out the noise. And in every board meeting, Felicia, and correct me if I'm wrong, we did this in the chamber and the CDC. Before every board meeting, we would read the mission statement. It was actually on the agenda.
That's big.
So that everybody, before we even start talking, you can remember why we're supposed to be doing what we're doing. And I think that was one of the biggest strategies that helped. Bridget, how would you say a person can navigate all of this kind of losing sight because people are hating and they feel like you're stepping on their toes? Or in my case, hey, you don't even live here. What you know about Inglewood?
Well, I'm going to throw a word out there that I think we need to remember, and that's the word humble. I think when you're when you are involved in a not-for-profit, you have to be humble, especially if you're the founder, because when you have to understand that when you become a not-for-profit, you are actually you're not a business in the sense that you own it. It's really owned by the public. It's for the benefit of the public, and it is a public entity. And so you have to start using terms like we, not I. One of the mistakes that I know I personally have experienced with some of my clients is that I have to kind of retrain them to say, I did this and I did that and I'm going to do this. And it's no longer I. it's we. You're a not-for-profit organization, and it's we, meaning you, the board, the community. What are we going to do? And so when if you're saying things like I this and I that, it can actually spark some feelings among the other team members that you're involved with. And if they're actually putting in work, it might not be as much work as you, but they're putting in work and they're contributing. They want to hear you say things and honor them, through your language and how you're describing the organization. And so that's one transition that you have to make when you're going from maybe working as a entrepreneur in a for-profit arena and delving into not-for-profit. It is no longer I this and I that, and that's not really respected in the not-for-profit world as it is in the for-profit world. It is really about the mission. You don't want your face on every periodical. It's not about you. It's the people that you're helping. The people that you're helping, their face needs to be on there. The community, your efforts, your initiatives, the results of those initiatives, the volunteers. That's another great people. Yeah. The volunteers being on your periodicals, not your face as the founder. And so, and I've actually seen that be an issue in some people's organizations where they feel like the person is trying to make this about them, and it causes a reaction. So you have to be humble. If you really want to build a team, it's about your team. It's about the community. Take yourself out of it. And I think people will respect you a lot more.
Beautiful point.
And I did want to make one more point too about the preventing yourself from being kind of ousted. One way that you can, one actual something that you can put into effect in order to prevent that from happening is to create your bylaws in a way that you have, because as a founder, you set the tone, you set the rules in the beginning. So any board member coming into your organization, they have to abide by the rules you set when you founded the organization.
So Bridget, are you saying I can write into my bylaws that I can't be voted out of this?
I don't think you can do that, but what you can do is you can set term limits for your board so that they don't become too big. And so what you can do is say, you can, after a year, you have to be revoted in, or you can, just like the president of the United States, they can only serve 2 terms, right? So, and then they can't serve anymore. They can be an advisor, they can still be involved, but they cannot actually be a decision-making person on your board.
I like that. I like that concept of you possibly being voted off of your board of a nonprofit. I actually, because it kind of
I do too, actually.
I kind of like that. And I think that if founders embrace that, it also would help them remain humble. That what, if I get off task, they can vote me out. This is about the mission. This ain't about me. So you need the best leader in position. I'm going through that in my own private business right now. Well, I recognize that I may not be the best CEO.
Wow.
I need to find another CEO. So I'm not against founders of companies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not against founders of companies being voted out.
Me either.
I'm not against.
That's a good idea.
That's powerful.
It's a gut check to be voted out. I can imagine it's painful. Like, damn it, I started this thing and they voted me out. But maybe that makes you better, right?
No question.
We have another question in the audience.
Okay.
After how many years should you be concerned about not turning over a profit for your nonprofit, especially since you don't want your passion to be a hobby? You want it to be a thriving business. And so the first thing that came to my mind when I saw it is maybe you need to be running a for-profit business.
Yeah, because it's really not about turning a profit, but it's about how are you generating enough revenue to continue to grow and expand the nonprofit operations, right? And so an example of that, and I'll try to make this as quick as possible. When we were starting the Chamber of Commerce, in the very beginning, Eric and I was really clear that this should have been an arm of the CDC.
Absolutely.
This should not have been a separate organization.
Absolutely.
We knew that the Community Development Corporation was focused on economic development, right? And they were going to get in that real estate arm. And what we said was, great, let us build the chamber so that we can really connect to the existing businesses, but me also thinking the existing commercial property owners, right? Let's
Right.
make sure that we're tapping into all of the people who are already out here doing something so that they can feel like they have a voice in things that are going to be happening in Inglewood, and that they're participating, and that they have, information that's coming, that the CDC was getting from the state, from the county, from the city, that we can say, okay, as members, you're going to get this information right away. We're going to make sure that you have all the tools to be really successful. And we were really adamant, this should not be two separate entities, but they were not interested. First, they were interested, then they weren't interested. And then once we moved forward, I mean, when I say interested, they didn't even want to have a conversation, like an official conversation. We're saying we're going to do all the work, help us with a little bit of funding. And then once we get it going, we're going to peace out. Because this is like this, we just want to help get it popping, right?
Right.
So we end up having to start the chamber on our own, which is fine. But with any growing business or organization, it's really about, it's just me. I'm marketing, I'm outreach, I'm doing it. Now it's about generating enough income from grants, from whatever, so that I can hire more people to reach more people. I was working full time and still doing the chamber. So this was not my full-time focus, but I was still very passionate about it. So it wasn't about, I'm trying to have a lot of money in the coffers, which is helpful, but it's helpful for continuing programming, hiring people and actually giving them a salary, because ain't nobody gonna work for free, just me, them first 5 years, right? So every step of the way, right? We have 2 new employees, we have ADP, we have an accountant, we have auditors. Like, we are slowly getting there. And each year it's about, how do I get more money to do the next thing? And the next thing for us is healthcare. The next thing for us is more people. So now we have one program manager. Now we need a program director. Now we need a dedicated marketing person. Now we need this. So it's really about, are you actually growing the team to do the broader, more intricate part of the work? Because as one person, you can only reach so many people.
Exactly. And our time is going a lot faster than I thought it was. I knew this was going to be an intriguing conversation. I want to give you all a chance to make some final thoughts, but I want to make a quick point first. To your point, Felicia, about those individuals not being willing to basically partner or consolidate, that's one of those things I would say to people, you kind of have to maintain your focus on the bigger picture, because that was disappointing. But that's an example of where politics had more of a hand in the mission of the community, of serving the community. That's a perfect example. And at the time, it's like, this doesn't even make sense. Like, why? But if we were to talk to a lot of these people now who probably aren't even part of any of this stuff, they probably would agree. Like, wow, that was short-sighted. I was caught up at the time. Maybe, I'm pretty sure I've talked to some of them, sure they've grown from that, but it made absolutely no sense. All right, we're rounding home base, ladies. Thank you for coming on the show. I want to give you, and this, if you're tuning in late, season 5, Money, Sex, Gen X, episode 5. Money, Sex, Gen X is really about giving Gen Xers an opportunity to talk about their lives, things that they're passionate about, and to give some game to the younger generation. Stu and I started this podcast because we felt like there weren't enough Felicias, Bridgets, Stu's, and Erics in the media. This show is consumed globally, especially the audio part. So people are taking this audio. Stu hooks up the audio after the show. It gets sent out to all the major platforms. People are consuming this because they're looking for these types of conversations. So again, I want to thank you. We're going to honor you by promoting your different companies, promoting your bio on our website and all of that, because we feel like it's extremely important. But take us out with your final thoughts about should you start a not-for-profit? Based on Bridget's comment, the title of this show should have probably been, should we start a not-for-profit, and taking the you out, right?
Nice. That was nice.
Yes.
But Bridget, take us out. Take us out on this conversation about not-for-profit. What are your final thoughts?
I think that there's value in starting a not-for-profit. There's also value in starting a business. And we're in an age where actually the hybrid of both actually makes sense. Most corporations, if you go on their website, they have some type of giving component, some type of foundation that shows that they're not just about making money, but also about giving back to the community. So I think that it's not really a matter of either or, it's just which one is best for you and how you can and possibly even incorporate both.
Okay, beautiful. Remember, Bridget is the founder and owner of 501c3 My.org. If you have a vision of starting a not-for-profit organization, I can tell you from experience, you definitely need to connect with Bridget. She has a process for you to follow to go from idea, like Stu was talking about, idea to an actual organization. She's going to help you get all your legal stuff done, all of that, training, whatever you need. Bridget Scarborough, 501c3 My.org. Bridget, where can people get in contact with you?
They can, the absolute best thing is to just call 830-320-1264. That's 830-320-1264.
All right, hit Bridget up. Felicia Slayton Young, thank you for coming on. Miss Financial Advisor Extraordinaire and Economic Developer. What do you have to say, final thoughts on this not-for-profit conversation?
I would say, and it's the thing that stays with me, is one, as Eric mentioned, read the mission. The goal is to prevent mission creep. Make sure that you stay on task. That has helped me to stay in my lane, the Chamber's lane. We're focused on what we are trying to accomplish and not what anybody else is doing. And I think that's been really the formula to our growth, is being clear about what we came here to accomplish and all of the steps that helps us accomplish that. Do that, and you will absolutely see the fruits of your labor.
Okay, no doubt. All right, thank you for that. Now, where can people, so we got people that's like, oh, I didn't know she was a financial advisor. So where can they get in touch for you for that? And then where can they get in touch with you as far as the Chamber?
Sure, you can definitely, for Bell Lucre, visit my website, www.belllucre.com. You can get on there, learn a little bit about who I am, what I do, and schedule a call. For anything small business related, support, growth, or just a conversation, definitely seek me out at fyoung@gechamber.com, or definitely visit our website to learn more about what we're doing and how we're doing it, www.gechamber.com.
All right. I wanted to talk about the foundation, but we ran out of time. But go to the GE Chamber website. You can find some information about that. Quickly, Felicia, can you tell people about your background back there? What are those images that you have in your backdrop?
Wow, these images, and you don't have the full scheme. It's just really photos over the years of all of the things that we've done. That first picture that you see is our very first fundraiser that we had. That second picture,
I remember that.
Below is one of the barbers, SUNY Powell's Barbershop. We've had a lot of different events over the summer, me talking to business owners, and other events that we've done. We did a little what we call the GE Chamber Marketplace out in the courtyard. So we've done a lot of good stuff, and this was a great way to kind of capture it. The business plan, Inglewood business plan competition, definitely. If you're a small business owner, you're trying to get some capital. They're giving away anywhere from $10,000 to $25,000 every year. So make sure
for real.
you're on top of that, right? So
Real.
yeah, you always trying to do good
Proud of
work.
that.
Love working with all of the organizations in Inglewood that support all of the work that we're doing in our growth, and most importantly, appreciating the partnerships and the love we're building amongst the other nonprofit organizations in Inglewood.
Absolutely, no doubt. Love both of you ladies. Thank you for coming on. We will definitely continue to work together and stay in touch. Talk to you soon. Wow, what a great episode, Stu. Can't hear you, brother.
Uh-oh, my bad. What a great episode. What a great episode. I think I cut Bridget, are you still there? I think I cut you off. I think I cut you off in the middle of you saying thank you on your way out.
Oh,
So
yeah, I just said thank you, and
there
I'll
you
be
go.
looking forward to getting my mug.
Oh, okay. All right, God. That's what's
Definitely
up.
make
That's
that
what's
happen.
up. Thank you,
All right,
Bridget.
bye-bye.
All right. Thank you, Ada
All right.
Babineau, for your comments and engaging us today.
Yes,
We
thank you.
appreciate
Thank
that.
you, Ada. Very
Always
good
appreciate
feedback
that.
and questions. So, Stu, we got a couple of quick things to run through.
Yeah, let's get to
I don't
it.
know if we have enough time, but we're going to do it anyway. All right, so we usually do something called Characters from Corporate. It's basically people giving their feedback about their experiences in corporate. This one's going to be short. It's kind of running out of time. We had somebody write in from Atlanta, Georgia. Stu, they work at a marketing agency. They are in a situation where they are working virtual, and they feel like because of their skin color, they are being targeted. This is a Black female from Atlanta, Georgia. She says she's a millennial, being targeted for not working hard enough in a virtual environment. Kind of being prodded to go back into the office, does not want to do that because of COVID. And she basically wants our feedback on, do we think she's being overly sensitive about people trying to make it look like she's not working hard enough? And should she just kind of stay the course or find another corporate situation? Characters from corporate. What do you think?
Well, off the bat, I don't think she's being overly sensitive about it. I think it's a real question to ask. I wouldn't want to go back into the office. I have become accustomed to working from home myself, so that's I'm biased in that because, I get it. So no, the answer, I don't think you're being a character from corporate, but think long and hard about what it is that you're doing and where you want to go with your career and your business. Can you find something else and I just read an article where a company was pressuring their staff to come back, and like 90% of the staff quit.
No way.
90%. I mean, this company had like 300 employees.
Sure.
Imagine that.
No
and they were saying, look, we didn't need to be in the office. We don't need to be in the office. We're good. Our revenue is up since working from home. Productivity is up. No, we don't want to come back, and we're not coming back. So, no, I don't think she's being a character. What about you?
Well, like usually what happens in these, I usually agree with you 1000%. Today is no different. I don't disagree at all. Yeah. Think about what you want to do. I'm sure a lot of people, not that this really helps, I'm sure a lot of people are going through that. Even though, most times you might feel more sensitive about it than it really is. Probably a lot of people are being scrutinized that are working in a virtual environment. But sometimes as people of color, we take it a little bit harder. So just maybe talk to other people and see what they're experiencing, other people who are not Black, and see, are they being scrutinized, and try to get a sense of the whole picture before making a decision. So yeah, it's a great character from corporate. Virtual, doesn't want to go back into the office.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Big Stu, do we have a pool artist for today?
We do not have a pool artist for today, but I do want to acknowledge that our URL has changed.
Okay.
So I just want to put that up on the screen, that if you want to check out some great new music, check out poolofmusic.com. A great pool of great talent, music from all different genres, podcasters on there, music producers. Even there are a couple of audio books on there. Go to poolofmusic.com. hubrisglobal.com. They are our sponsor, one of our sponsors today. The other sponsors, Hubris Global Wealth Management. Where can they find Hubris? Where can they find Hubris?
I almost did the www thing, but I'm showing my age. Hubriswealth.us. HUBRIS wealth.us.
Hubriswealth.us. Check them out. Hubriswealth.us. Check them out if you want to get your finances in order. I call the founder and the CEO of Hubris Wealth. I call him the financial whisperer. Like, this guy is the financial therapist. He is a financial therapist. He is the money whisperer. So
okay. I used to feel uncomfortable when you said that financial therapist, but I'm kind of leaning into that little bit.
I think so. I think you should.
Okay. I appreciate that.
In the world where everybody's branding themselves differently and newly, the financial therapist, you don't need a certificate to be that, right? It's just a moniker, so I like calling you that because you helped me personally through a bunch of things, and I'm able to still stand on some of those principles today. Thank you.
Okay.
And thank you, hubriswealth.us. Hubris Wealth, our other sponsor for today. So that's all I got there.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. All right.
I do have one more segment. E-Money's Wardrobe Spotlight.
Okay.
For you all who've been following us from season 1, first of all, E-Money is clearly the wardrobe, the fashionista here. He's rocking. I want to shout out the brim.
Okay.
I want to shout out the brim.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I don't think I've seen that brim before.
You know what, brother? You actually have seen it, but I remixed it, so it looks a little bit
interesting.
Yeah,
and I love how
I got tired of wearing baseball caps. So.
I love how it hits off the leather jacket. I see you with the leather jacket with the frontal zips, and I see you with the classic low sweater with the flag.
Yes, sir. I appreciate
E-Money,
that.
you be coming with it, man. E-Money.
Thank you, sir.
Spotlight.
But I will say this, man. I always appreciate that spotlight. But if you see me throughout the week, I'll be looking crazy. You might see me walking down the street with some gray sweatpants on, looking crazy, hair not combed, and all that. So this is an opportunity for me to wear some of these garments that we've accumulated over the years, that they're not just sitting in the closet because we're in that virtual environment so much now.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it.
I'm short on. I haven't bought any new pants in so long. In 2 years, I don't think I bought a new pair of pants. That's a whole nother conversation. But at any rate, you fly today, E-Money, as usual.
Appreciate it, man. And guess what? Big Stu is fly in person. Every time I see him, we met up at a buddy's house last week. He came through with the drip. There's always something unique that he has on. Last week it was the slides.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, wow. And I had my slides in the car. I'm like, man, I should have brought my slides out. But, he held it down. So I get inspiration from those I'm around. Like yourself.
Hey, there you go. Great time last week at the homie's house, man.
No doubt.
Great time.
What a great episode, man.
Yeah,
so
man. Very informative.
More, right?
Yeah.
We got 2 more to finish out this season. So next week, I think we're doing Should You Go to Church?
That's going to be on fire, too.
What's our guest name for that episode?
Stephen J. Thurston III.
Stephen J. Thurston III.
Now,
he's a pastor.
He's a pastor, son of a pastor. And I believe he's also has his what is it? I don't know. He's indoctrinated to also pastor. But everybody on the South Side, the older generation for sure, knows his pops.
Okay.
Stephen J. Thurston II. Everybody knows Stephen J. Thurston,
okay.
Pastor Thurston.
Right.
But not a lot of people do know Stephen Thurston III. But I don't know if they know him like I know him and like you about to know him.
Okay. And he's a Gen Xer?
Very interesting.
He's a Gen Xer?
He is a Gen Xer.
Okay, good. I
He
can't
is a
wait,
Gen
man.
Xer.
Okay.
Yes.
Money, sex, Gen X. Let's meet them. Let's meet them. All right.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
And then our last episode, I don't know if I'm getting the title right, but it's about colorism.
Yeah. Well, what is colorism? I think
What is
it's just called like
colorism? Is
what is
that it?
colorism?
Okay, we're
I
going
think
to
it's
get
called
into
what is
the light skin, dark skin, and all of that, and
Are
see
you
what
dark
does that look
skinned?
like today. You know what? I consider myself dark skinned, but I've been told, I keep being told that that's what I've learned is it depends. I consider myself dark skinned, but it depends on who I talk to in terms of their perspective.
Yeah.
I don't really look in the mirror, and that's my first thought. Am I light skinned? Am I dark skinned? That's just not how my mind works. But
Yeah.
I've had that conversation with people. Would you consider yourself light, dark?
I consider myself dark. And I'm
Okay.
I'm dark, but I've seen people darker, but I'm dark. I embrace my dark skin. I feel like I'm a caramel, I don't know what the people would say, but I'm dark.
Okay. Well, I guess part of that episode is going to be, does it matter?
It's gonna be interesting.
It matters.
Because
So
we got a white guy joining us on that episode too.
We got a white guy, and we got someone who's definitely a black person who's a different complexion than we are.
Light skin.
So we're gonna have a couple of different. She's definitely lighter complexion. So we're gonna have a couple of different perspectives.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. All right. All right, Stu. Well, let's get out of here, man. Been a great episode. Let's keep rocking out, giving this life game up to the people.
You already know what it is. Until next time.